What's going on, guys? I hope that your Friday is going well. I personally am pumped to be off for the weekend and taking my wife out to sushi tonight, so I'm excited about that. So got a question here from my friend Rachel, and she was wondering if she's wondering about pre-workouts and supplements in general, because it's such a large market and there's so many different supplements on the market. It's a multi-billion-dollar market, and when you go to Amazon or when you go to GNC or the health food store or whatever, wherever you personally buy your supplements, there's going to be tons of different options, and each one is claiming to do different things and promising you the world. And so she was just wondering which supplements to be taking, and on top of that, what to look for when you are looking to buy a supplement. And so I would say the very first thing that you should look for is turn it around and look at the ingredients. And on that ingredient label, you'll notice something. Either one, it will have a proprietary blend, or it will actually list out what ingredients they're using and the quantity of that ingredient. So when they use a proprietary blend, by law, they have to include, they have to list the items there by weight. So the ingredient that is first will have the highest weight, or there's more in there by weight for that ingredient. But with a proprietary blend, they can really use as much of all of those ingredients as they want and just say that it's proprietary. Companies do this they say they do it because they want to protect their formula, but in reality, they are doing it to hide or mask the quantities of those ingredients that they're putting in there. A couple problems arise. Either one, they will use ingredients that aren't scientifically bound or scientifically proven, and if they do use an ingredient that is scientifically proven to work, like let's say creatine monohydrate. So creatine monohydrate is one of the #1 tested supplements, I think maybe below caffeine, in terms of performance. But your body it requires a loading of about 10 to 20 grams per day for about a week to a week and a half, and then the maintenance is 5 grams every single day. That's what studies have proven, is that you need at least 5 grams to maintain healthy ATP levels, and by supplementing with creatine. Creatine phosphate is the long name for it. Anyway, so you need 5 grams, but lots of supplements will either not tell you what's in there, or they'll have a lower dose because it's cheaper. And so if you see a proprietary blend, don't even worry about that supplement. Don't buy it. Go on to the next one. The next thing that you're looking into is the amount per serving of that ingredient. So first thing, if it's proprietary blend, the next thing is how much of each ingredient that you're getting. If there's a large amount of taurine is one of the cheapest amino acids out there, and a lot of companies like Muscle Farm actually got in a lot of trouble because they were in their protein, they were protein doping. They were including more taurine to up the amino acid content so that they could say there was more grams of protein, because taurine's the cheapest amino acid. So they got in a lot of trouble. They got sued by a lot of people. But anyway, for a pre-workout, there's a couple things that I require for my pre-workout, and we'll kind of go over those. One is that I have to know exactly what's going into it. I'm not going to be putting anything in my body that is not going to be beneficial for it, or I'm not going to put anything in there that's questionable. I've done a lot of research. I actually owned a supplement company for a number of years, and so I'm decently well versed on what the ingredients do. I don't know all of the ingredients out there because they're constantly coming out with new ones to boost performance, but to me, a pre-workout has to do a few things. And before we get into this, do you need a pre-workout? No, not at all. If you can do it without a pre-workout, I think that's awesome. More power to you. I personally am addicted to caffeine and addicted to the pump that I feel when I'm on a pre-workout and the focus that I get. So I personally love it. But you can get away with not doing it, or maybe just drinking, you know, some coffee or some caffeine beforehand. Lots of people do that, and I think that's awesome. So you definitely don't need it. If you want to save your money and spend it on chicken and rice instead, I think that's great. But personally, I love pre-workout. But with it, a couple things that I look at. One thing is it has to increase the blood flow or vasodilation. And so for a long time, people used arginine or arginine. It's proven that arginine is unsuccessful unless you take 3 grams intravenously. It actually gets broken down into its basic parts and your body doesn't utilize it. So with a vasodilator, I would recommend citrulline, and I would recommend it in a citrulline malate, which is a citrulline amino acid bonded to a malic acid in a 2-to-1 ratio. So essentially, you're going to want to get 4 grams of citrulline and 2 grams of malic acid. So usually it will say citrulline malate 2:1, and then make sure that that says 6 grams, or I mean, I would take 4 grams. You're definitely going to feel a difference. But studies, all of the research that they've done it on 6 grams of citrulline malate. So that's the first thing. So that's going to increase the blood flow to your muscles. With more blood flow comes more oxygen, more nutrients, a bigger pump. So there's that. Citrulline malate is always good. Is it true that whey protein can damage kidneys? In this day and age, everything can damage everything. Everything can cause cancer. But yes, if you consume too much whey protein or too much protein in general, it can wreak a little bit of havoc on your kidneys because you have to process all of that. And especially if you're getting a low quality whey protein, that's going to be bad. I wouldn't recommend buying it from Walmart because of that protein doping that I was telling you about. Because it's so processed. So essentially what they do with whey protein, right? The way that they found out that it had a lot of benefit was they would take milk, they put it through this process, and it was actually a byproduct, whey protein was. And they used to just throw it away until somebody was like, let me see if this is beneficial. They started giving it to bodybuilders, right? Because you can give bodybuilders anything, and if you promise them that it's going to give them gains or whatever, they'll put any shit into their body. And they noticed that it could be beneficial. But through the years, the quality of whey protein has continually lowered due to a demand in higher quantities, lower price. That's just kind of how it works. McDonald's used to be a lot higher quality, and then until they figured out how to make more burgers for cheaper by using crappier products. So if you consume too much protein, and especially whey protein in supplement form, yeah, it can be damaging. But if you are a healthy individual with healthy organs, you've never had an issue, then you should be perfectly fine. But to get back to pre-workout, so it has to have a vasodilator to fill the muscles more with blood. Personally, I like to have some sort of stimulant, whether that's caffeine, whether that's teacrine, something like that. Tyrosine is known to increase dopamine levels in your brain. So I always like to look for something that has tyrosine in there. You can also look for a supplement called carnitine, which helps to drive fat molecules into the mitochondria of the cell to be used as fuel. And so with a pre-workout though, it just primes your body to push yourself further in the gym, right? Because when you go to the gym, if you're not feeling it, your workout's going to suffer. But if you go in there and you have caffeine, so it stimulates your brain, you have tyrosine, so you have an increase in dopamine while you're going there, right? You're enjoying it. You have the carnitine, so your metabolism's revving up a little bit more. Citrulline malate, you're feeling the pump, right? You're going to be feeling good. It's going to prime you to push further in the gym, push your body harder than it would be able to otherwise. Doing that, you're going to burn more calories, and you're going to break down the muscle even further, promoting further protein synthesis. So then when you go home and you actually do eat and you rest, you have a balanced diet, you will build it up, right? You'll break it down further, so then you can build it up further. So those are kind of the big hitters. Lots of ingredients or lots of pre-workouts will have what's called beta-alanine or beta-alanine. So that's the thing that kind of makes you itchy. And what it does, that's kind of the byproduct. It's not in there to make you itchy. The longer you take it, the less itchy you'll get. It's a byproduct. It's because beta-alanine actually attaches to the nerve centers. And so that's why you feel it in the places that are really nerve sensitive, like in your lips, sometimes like in the corners of your eyes, in your ears, and kind of in your fingertips. You'll feel beta-alanine a little bit more. With beta-alanine, I think the studies have proven that you need, that it will increase performance and you'll kind of get that itch at about 750 milligrams. But a lot of the studies have done it with 3 grams, so that's what I would recommend. So the big ones are with caffeine, you want 200 milligrams is kind of standard, and the higher in caffeine you go, right, the higher your heart rate will be, but caffeine is actually a vasorestrictor, and you're taking citrulline malate to become a vasodilator, which opens it because you want more blood flow. So you have to have this balance with caffeine. You want enough that you get the effects of the enjoyment and the increase in energy, increase in heart rate, but not enough that it's going to constrict your blood vessels so that you're feeling less of a pump. So caffeine is huge. Citrulline malate or L-citrulline for the pump. Tyrosine can help improve your mood. Carnitine helps to drive fat to the mitochondria of the cell. Beta-alanine actually, so what beta-alanine does is it tweaks the pH or the acidity of the muscles. When you're lifting, there's this process that you accumulate lactic acid because the pH in the muscle changes, and what beta-alanine does is it buffers that. So if you usually start feeling that burn at like 10 reps, let's say, you might be able to push further and get like 12 or 13 reps because of that acid buffer. And then obviously creatine is in there. Go with the creatine monohydrate, 5 grams will help you, push harder in the gym and as well as recover. So those are honestly my big ingredients. A lot of other ones that are promised, that they'll give you the world, usually don't work. If the bottle seems too good to be true, like if the marketing seems that it's too good to be true, most of the time it is. But like I've said in other videos, supplements are meant to do just that. Supplement a good workout program and a good nutrition program. If your diet is shit and you don't know what the heck you're doing in the gym, taking a fat burner is not going to help you. Taking pre-workout is not going to help you. So definitely have those two things in sync before you start looking into supplements. I have a buddy that he takes a fat burner all the time thinking that it's going to help, but his diet's garbage and he barely pushes it in the gym, and so obviously he's not going to see the results that he wants. We got a question: which is more effective, starting your day workout or at the end of the day? So honestly, that's personal preference. So I go to a Mountainside Fitness, and I actually saw this, and I'll see if it's still there. It was one of their promotional banners or whatever to go to one of their morning classes, and it said that workouts in the morning burn more calories, which that's the law of thermodynamics. That is totally false. If you do the exact same workout at night versus if you do it in the morning, you're going to burn the exact same amount of calories, obviously, if you're doing the exact same workout. Now, if you have found that you're more productive in the morning, on a more empty stomach versus at night when you've consumed food, then that's awesome. Do that. I would say work out whenever you're going to be the most productive and have the best workout and feel the best. Personally, I work out in the morning on an empty stomach just because of my schedule, and it sets me up for the day. It actually makes it so that I'm a little less hungry. I can concentrate a little bit more in the gym. But I will say that sometimes I'm a little distracted because I am hungry, because my blood sugar's a little bit lower. And so I would say it kind of depends on your goals as well. If you're trying to build muscle and increase, you know, your performance, whether that's you're trying to hit a PR or you're trying to run further or something like that, I would say maybe having a workout later in the day would be more effective when you do have a little bit more glucose in your system and you've filled your glycogen stores, versus when I work out in the morning, my glycogen stores aren't super full because I haven't eaten since, you know, 6 o'clock the previous night. And sometimes my workouts can suffer a little bit in that regard. But yeah, I would say it's personal preference, and depending on your goals, try a little bit of both. Some people get nauseous if they work out on an empty stomach in the morning, and you know, some people like to take pre-workout, and if they work out at, you know, 10 at night, that doesn't work because then they can't sleep. So I would say it definitely depends on your schedule and your personal preference. So thank you so much for the questions, though. I really appreciate it. It's nice having you know, additional things to talk about while we're going through this. Sorry I didn't post yesterday and the day before. I got off work early, and so it kind of threw everything for a loop. But yeah, if you do have any more questions, hit me up in the DMs or in my profile. I also have uploaded all of my previous videos from both my my trip, as well as videos that I made when I was out in Utah at my gym. Actually, I'm wearing one of my shirts. It's Casual Friday, so I'm wearing Rep and Performance Training today. But yeah, until next time, I will check you guys later. Thanks for watching.